Good evening, everyone, and welcome out to Speed Racing Network, where we are presenting tonight the 4-Wide Racing week number 22. This is the Wreckers and Checkers 185 here at Daytona International Speedway. We are going to have a great time tonight. We've only got 3 weeks left in this season, so the points chase is heating up. And where else would you rather go than Daytona Motor Speedway, Daytona International Speedway, where all racing began, basically. So we are back here at the birthplace of NASCAR, and we are here in the Cup cars. 75 laps tonight. That's really all it's going to take to figure out the winner. Only one fast repair tonight, so everybody's got to be kind of cautious, especially here on a restrictor plate race where everybody's going to be all bunched together. Guaranteed we are going to see some wrecks. Actually, I was just informed it's going to be 80 laps tonight, so I apologize for that. 80 laps tonight, so even more fun for everybody to get in here and have a great time. So if you are watching right now, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We do have plenty of broadcasts throughout the week. We do have another broadcast on Friday with the IVCS League, as well as on Sunday with Mid-South Madness League. And then next season, starting in January, we're going to have all sorts of crazy fun. So definitely come on out and join us here at Speed Racing Network. Let's take a look at the standings for the Cup right now. So James Holtzer is out front. He's got 745 points. He's out there having a great time. He has shown us how it's done. Austin Reedy trying desperately to catch this guy and trying to get caught up in the points. But, you know, last race was not a good race for Austin, but it was a really good race for James. So we'll see that here in just a second. Nicholas Vizzutti, he is still in this points race. Tyler Murray still in the points race. Everybody else has kind of started to kind of fade away a little bit. So it looks like it's going to be a 2, 3, maybe 4 horse race here towards the end. But tonight is kind of going to be the determining factor. If one of these 3 drivers, Austin Reedy, Nicholas Vizzutti, or Tyler Murray, cannot put in a good race tonight and catch James Holtzer a little bit more, then James Holtzer might run away with this whole thing. And if you take a look over the past few weeks, you know, it's kind of been an up and down thing. So Austin Reedy has been slowly catching James Holtzer. It was after week 17, a 78-point gap. He gained 25 points on him in race 18. In race 19, gained another 10. In race 20, gained another 9. But then, just like we said, this past race, he actually lost a little bit of points, a little bit of gap there. So Austin really needs a strong race. So does Nicholas Vizzutti. So does Tyler Murray. So a lot of stuff going on tonight. And this is the wild card. This is the one that is so difficult to predict because of all of the hardcore pack racing that we're going to get tonight. And speaking of pack racing, I am looking out there in the field right now, and we have almost 40 drivers in the field. And so it is definitely going to be a ton of people out there on the track, which means a lot of great racing, but also means a lot more damage. So really quick, let's take a look and see what's going on this off season because, you know, again, season's winding down to the close. Only 3 weeks left, including tonight. But in the off season, we are going to have the Xfinity Off Season League. So starting on October the 6th, we're going to be right back here at Daytona. We're going to be in the Xfinity cars. We're going to be running a few tests, kind of stage racing. We're going to try that out a little bit. We're also going to try out playoff systems as well. So we don't have any playoffs in this current league. It's just whoever's ahead at the very end, they win the championship. But in this next one, we are going to have some of those playoff systems. We're going to test some things out. But definitely come and check us out in the Xfinity Off-Season League for 4-Wide Racing. If you want more information on that, definitely get into our Discord channel and ask Roman Long and a couple others, and they will be more than happy to take you under their wing and go after it. So in the chat right now, Tyler Murray says, running him down in points with a bungee cord on the gas pedal. Let's go, Reedy. And so definitely a lot of people watching this race, a lot of people really want to see what happens out here, including the drivers out there. So we've got about 55 more seconds left to go in qualifying, and then we are going to get out there on the track, and we are going to get it going. But definitely take a look at this Xfinity Off-Season League, a group of fantastic guys. If you are just getting into iRacing or you want to get better at iRacing, this is the perfect league for you. So come and join us here at 4-Wide Racing. All right, let's take a quick look here. So about 30 seconds to go until we're going to grid up and we'll be able to show you exactly who's out in front. And right now, it looks like Mitchell Brown is the pole sitter as it sits right now. And really, that should come as no surprise. He won just last week, if I remember correctly. So then we have Cody Havens, who I believe this is his first race in four-wide racing, and then Jonathan Warren, who has definitely been here before. Jake Rowell, who was here last week. David Duke last week. So we got a big, huge list of people in here. So we're going to go through a lot of these names, hopefully, along the way. So let's take a look and see what our grid looks like. And so it looks like Mitchell Brown up front, the number 51 car. Cody Havens, number 91, is in second. Jonathan Warren in third. Jake Rowell in fourth. David Duke fifth. Dustin Webb sixth. Brandon Banks seventh. Joseph DuPont in eighth. Connor Trafari, sorry, I probably butchered that name, and I apologize, Connor. So Connor Trafari in ninth. Kyle Benson in 10th, Matt Roberts in 11th, and James Holtzer himself, our points leader, in 12th. So that is our grid. And along the way, we're going to have a couple other guys stopping by and helping us call the race a little bit. We're going to have a little bit of fun tonight because everybody loves Daytona. I'll tell you, I enjoy every single race that I broadcast, but something is special about here at Daytona because it's just bigger, it's better, it's more fun. That's all it is. And so you can see the cars kind of gridding up there. And we have the ticker up at the top, so we are about to get started. The pace car is going to drive off and pull away and bring all those cars with it. Looking at the sheet right now, looks like 37 drivers. 37 drivers in this race. So going to be a huge race, a lot of action out there. And look at that, they're already antsy to get started. So Mitchell Brown's going to pull off, and he is going to lead the entire pack off of pit road. Lots of gorgeous cars out there, and we will definitely see some of the love the Viagra car. There you go, that's fun. We got a pedigree car out there. We've got looks like a Dale Jr. Foundation car and an Ally car. I think we've got a couple of Ally cars actually. So yeah, we've got a ton of great cars. A Crown Royal car out there. So all sorts of good stuff. But pace car is going to bring us around one time, and then we are going to get this party rolling with Mitchell Brown taking us to the start-finish line the first time around. Once again, 80 laps tonight, one fast repair, 3 weeks to go in the season, and everybody trying to catch James Holtzer. This is what it's all about, and this is why you put a track like Daytona 3 weeks before the finish, is because it is anybody's race. Anything can happen tonight. James Holtzer could lock up the points tonight if he wanted to, or if he ends up in first, or he could lose that points lead really quickly. So all sorts of fun out there on the track. So we've got Mitchell Brown in the 51, Dustin Webb in the 111 on his outside. All right, so coming around turns 3 and 4, pace car is going to dive off, and we are going to get this race started. All right, everybody, let's have a great time tonight. Here we go for the Wreckers and Checkers 185 at Daytona International Speedway. And we already have a caution. So that's pretty much how it goes sometimes. Let's go back into the back of the pack. Not really sure where the caution took place back there. I'm not seeing any damage. It may have been thrown just because people were not gridded up. I don't see anything too out of control back there. So we will get right back to it here in just a couple of minutes, it looks like. But yeah, I don't see anybody. I don't see any damage out there at this point, so and nothing's showing on my screen as a wreck happening. So it may have just been so many cars on the track. It's tough to get everybody gridded up all at the same time. So that's the number 88 car. That's James Holtzer right there in the Credit 1 car. So that is our points leader, and the guy trying to track him down. Let's see if we can find him on this extremely long list here. And something must have happened with James Holtzer because he had qualified 12th. So not really sure what happened to drop him so far back. Jake Rowell also qualified high. So something bad happened there. I'm not sure what it was. But here's the number 11. This is Austin Reedy. This is the guy that has the best chance to catch up to James Holtzer tonight. And he is in the Wreck-It Reedy car. So a really fun paint job there. A lot of these guys do their own paint jobs, but definitely if you have a paint job that you want done, there are a ton of really great guys out there that know how to paint these vehicles really well and make them absolutely gorgeous. So heading back up to the front, and again, that really didn't take that long, but here we are with Mitchell Brown. It looks like we're going to go at least 2 more laps around. So not exactly how we wanted to start this thing, but here we are. So it's going to be Mitchell Brown first, Dustin Webb second, Jonathan Warren third, Joseph DuPont fourth. While we have some time, let's take a look at some of these cars. So that is the Patriot number 51 of Mitchell Brown. Dustin Webb in the ESPN Networks car. Jonathan Warren in the classic Texaco car. Joseph DuPont, the Ally car. David Duke, he is in his Coco movie car. Great movie. Brandon Banks, looks like in the Kaboom Home Depot car. Connor Trafari, and that's a brewing company. I believe that's lot 9. I'll have to get a better angle on that here in a second. Matt Roberts in the red, white, and blue. Forrest Wynn in the classic Kodiak car. Richard Rico in the, I believe that's Pure Speed Elite Series car. Stephen Waldrop in the Viagra car. Jason Tripp, who's the owner of Mid-South Madness, where a lot of these drivers race on Sunday nights. This is the Speed Racing Network car. So he's representing the network that's broadcasting tonight. So if I can say one thing, and I hope he's listening, Jason, do not embarrass us tonight. Brian Crocker in the Chevy car. Craig Lautenschlager. So he has raced some fantastic races lately. So he's in the number 13 Fighting 103 car for the Navy. Then the Monster number 21 car. And that is Robert Ken. It might be Ken. One of those two. That's who it is. But back up front, I think we're going to get around one more time here. And it looks like the standings are shuffling once again. So there may have been some miscues on the restart or on the initial start. And I think that's what's going on is people are getting kind of waved around so that we can reorder everybody. So we will get this all sorted out. I'm just kind of looking for the pace car right now to see exactly where it's at. So anytime there's a caution right after the start, right before people get to the start-finish line, it kind of messes up the order a little bit. So that's likely what happened here. We had that in another league that we were in as well, to where the caution came out really early and it kind of just messed up the order. So it looks like those guys that qualified towards the front are starting kind of to head back up front, hopefully to get a little bit of order here. And while they're doing that, we will take another look back at the standings tonight. So once again, James Holtzer out front. He's got a nice 43-point, just a plush lead. He's got 3 wins on the season. And if you look at that right column, so top 10s, think about this. This is only 21 races, and he's got 16 of those in the top 10. That is fantastic driving. The guy hot on his heels, Austin Reedy, he also has 16 top 10s. Nicholas Vizzutti has 15. Tyler Murray has 13. Tyler Werner has 15. So a lot of really good, consistent drivers who remain in the top 10 week after week after week. And that's what has brought them so far up the charts. But you can also see Roman Long, although he's not going to finish off the season in first place, he's not going to win the championship here, but he is moving up in the standings, as is Chris Massey. So I'm looking out there on the track right now, and it does look like there was a lot of shuffling out there. So pace car's lights are off, so we should be getting back to racing here when we come back around turns 3 and 4. So we will find out shortly if that's the case. So back in the back, we see some of these guys coming all the way back around. We'll make mention of a couple others. So we got Daniel Bowdler in the field tonight. So in the number 6 Speed Racing Network car. He is out there after winning this past Sunday at Texas. And so really great driver out there. Let's see if we can point out a couple others before we get around. Yeah, it looks like we're under caution again. So again, we are going to keep this caution going for a little bit so we can try to reorder everybody. So Jake Rowell, we will pull his car up here. So Jake Rowell in the number 19 Bass Pro Shop car. So fantastic driver. He's got 2 wins on the season in the Mid-South Madness League, which is an Xfinity league. So so we enjoy seeing him out there on the track. Good friend of Speed Racing Network. Jacob Smith, also a good friend of Speed Racing Network, in the Busch Light number 26 red, white, and blue car. So beautiful car there. And Joseph DuPont, number 48, I will call him Mr. Consistency. This is a guy that is just consistently where he needs to be. He doesn't race too aggressively, but he is just so consistent. He is just constantly right there. And so you have to watch out for him towards the end of the race, because he is one of those that could sneak up on you and just win the race without you understanding what just happened. Roman Long in the number 99 Crown Royal car. This is the owner of 4 Wide Racing, so we appreciate him and all of his efforts. We know it is not easy to run a league, and so we appreciate that. Chad Wampler in the Steak Dance Racing car. So Steak Dance seasoning is fantastic steak seasoning. If you have not tried it, you need to go to steakdance.com. We have made a deal with him that every time he wins in that car that we have to have a steak with Steak Dance seasoning on it the next night. So we're kind of hoping he wins tonight, so that way I can have a steak tomorrow. Otherwise, my wife won't allow me to eat the steak. I don't know why. Let's just check and see if that pace car has its lights off yet. And it looks like it does. So we might be getting back to it here in a couple more turns. And I know we've said that a couple times already, but we are definitely going to get some racing. And here we go. So pace car dives off. And here comes Mitchell Brown with hopefully the real restart. And no. So another yellow flag. This is going to get interesting here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So sorry about this. We will try to figure out what's going on out there on the track. So you can see all the cars back in the back. And again, I think we're just trying to get everything shuffled back together again. Something must have happened on the very first start. Oh, I guess we are back to green. I'm not really sure what's going on there with the flag, so I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Mitchell Brown out front in the 51, and we are starting back up. So 78 car of Jonathan Warren there on Mitchell Brown's tail. And so we're going to get some good pack racing. One really good pack racer there is David Duke in the Coco car, number 79. He wins a lot of these restrictor plate races just because he is super patient, but he knows when to push when he needs to push. And you can see we've kind of broken up into a couple of packs here. But Mitchell Brown leading the way. And you can see all the cars coming off that corner trying to catch up. And here at a track like a restrictor plate like this is, it is not hard for those packs to catch up quickly. So these guys up front do not need to get too terribly comfortable. And usually in at a track like this, there are constant wrecks out there. So we will see how long it takes before we see a nice big wreck from people being impatient. We will find out quickly. And so Mitchell Brown's still leading. We are trying to get a line on the outside with Dustin Webb. He is trying to get something going. We do have a yellow flag out on the track. And it looks like we've got a couple cars involved here. So we are going to go back and we are going to find out what is going on with a Dent Wizard wreck replay. And it looks like they're just coming down into the turn. The number 64 there, that I believe is Mike Eberhardt. He gets down into the 32, and they just start spinning. And so, anytime here. And the number 9, that's Brandon Gillis. He gets involved as well. The number 32 being Robert Ballard. So definitely some wrecking going on already. Let's see if anybody else is involved. It doesn't look like anyone else. Go! The number 8, Tyler Murray, barely gets by, and good thing, too, because he is in that points race. So, all right, well, let's go back up front now, where Mitchell Brown still leads this race. And now we will find out. I don't think anybody's going to pit this early, but you never know. We've seen it before. I know a couple guys that are in the pits right now, Brandon Gillis and Robert Ballard Jr. They were both involved in that wreck, so they are in the pits as we speak, trying to get their cars fixed and get right back out there. All right, so during this first actual caution of the race, I know we had kind of a bunch of cautions there to kind of get everybody stacked back up. But during this first caution of the race, let's bring in Superman Brandon Browning. How's it going tonight, Brandon?
Oh, it's going pretty good, buddy. Just tuning in to watch some madness that's going to be the Daytona 185 here. The Wreckers and Checkers 185 brought to you guys by Speed Racing Network.
Man, I was telling guys earlier that I love every single broadcast I do, especially when you're on the broadcast with me, buddy. But there's just something about Daytona that just brings it out, man. We just love this track.
I tell you, I've ran in a lot of league races, Sean, and, a lot of different leagues, a lot of different tracks. But the one thing that I enjoy most, racing, casting, and overall being a part of, is restrictor plate racing. I can never get enough of it. It doesn't matter if I was to do it 7 nights a week, twice a day. I love restrictor plate racing. It's just pure chaos, and that's, it brings out the magic in a broadcast. And even as you're a driver, you can make some magic happen that maybe you can't make happen at 1.5 miles. And that's what I love about it, man. Anybody can win these things.
Well, that's what I like to say is that Talladega and Daytona are the easiest tracks to race, but the hardest tracks to win, because you just never know the chaos that you're going to find.
Yeah, and that's for sure, Sean. First of all, let me go back and say I enjoy being on every single broadcast with you. I've had the pleasure of broadcasting with quite a few people, but I haven't enjoyed it anywhere near as much as I've enjoyed broadcasting with you, so I thank you for that. But as far as, restrictor plate racing, it's so easy, to get caught up in something small and throw your whole race away. If you make it to the end, that doesn't mean you're going to win. If we were to go to Kansas right now, my pick would be David Duke. David Duke's a solid driver at Kansas, but some of these guys back here now that wouldn't, hold a light to what David Duke and Daniel Baldwin, some of these new guys can do at Kansas, as well as, Austin Reedy, James Holtzer, those guys who've absolutely killed it all season long. Here at Daytona, it's an even playing field. You just have to stay within 1.3 seconds of the car in front of you, and you've got a shot, because the draft pulls you up so quick that, 1.3 seconds behind at Kansas, or even at Bristol, 1.3 seconds behind at Bristol, it's so hard to run those guys down. But here, 1.3 seconds, it's a half a straightaway, Sean, and you're right back on their back bumper.
Well, we saw a little bit of a group breakaway there on that first little stint, but now that everybody's all packed up back together, I expect that we will see a huge group form really quickly.
Yeah, and honestly, that's where it gets scary for some of these guys. When there's 6 of you, you have to trust 5 other cars. When there's 36 of you all running together, you have to trust everyone. And you never know who you can trust and who you can't, who's going to allow you to slide the nose in there, and, squeeze the position, and what's really going to happen. And that is the tough part about this.
Yeah, man, it is a great race, though. I mean, this is one of those that you wait for this thing on the schedule because it's so much fun to drive through chaos. And so it's just such a great time. And glad to see that these guys made it out here tonight at the Wreckers and Checkers 185. But I think we're about to get right back to racing. So the pace car is going to dive off, and it's going to be a nice long road to the start-finish line.
Yeah, this is the most chaos that you're going to see right here, is waiting for the green flag to fly. And it looks like we're back underway here, Sean. A lot of squeezing already there as we try to side draft to get just the one up, to get into that bottom line. You want to side draft, find an opening on the bottom, and then fill it as quick as you can.
Yeah, we are going to try to get through the entire pack tonight. But all the action right now is going to be up at the front for a little while, but I can already see a 3 wide opening up a little bit further back.
You can make that work pretty easily at Daytona, at Talladega. But here at Daytona, man, you really have to know your stuff. And that guy right there on the screen, the number 6 car, if there's anybody in this field, and some of these guys I've never raced with, and I don't know like that, Sean, but if I was in this race right now, I'd be looking for that 6 machine. There is not a guy that I've ever raced with that can push like Daniel Bowler can push. He can shove you in the straightaways. He can shove you in the tri-oval, the corners, and he shoved you harder in the corners than some people shove you down the backstretch and never wreck you doing it.
Man, I'll tell you, the one guy that's out there that can push just as hard as Daniel Bowler is the guy that is pushing him right now, and that is Jake Rowell in the number 19 Bass Pro Shops car.
If those two stay together for the remainder of about the 65 laps we have here, they can keep it clean. Good luck beating those boys at the end. I mean, they are 2 solid drivers. I haven't found a track yet where, you talk about Daniel Bowler. I haven't raced with him now, of course, in another series that we broadcast, Mid-South Madness. He's had some tough luck. But there's not a track that I've been to that he can't win on. Same with Jake Rowell. I feel like every race that I cast that includes Jake Rowell, he's always at the front making noise. Now I know he's right about the middle of the pack right now. 3 wide in the middle there. You see him in that Bass Pro Shops machine, going to find his way to the bottom. But, man, he's just always in the mix, Sean. He is never out of it, even when you think he should be.
That's right, but up front we got a nice little battle brewing up here. Mitchell Brown, who's pretty much led every single lap. Then you got the 78 on the inside. That is Jonathan Warren. Right behind him, it shows the 78 car, but it's actually the 79 of David Duke in the Coco. But now number 77, Forrest Wynn, dives in there as well. Looks like Jonathan Warren is going to get to lead a lap here.
Yeah, and not too easily here as far as David Duke's concerned. It's a good night to pick. Oh, they're crashing back in the pack.
Oh, all sorts of damage back here. We are definitely going to get a yellow flag. Oh, lots of hard hits. And we are going to get a chance to go all the way back and see everything that happened back there.
When we do this wreck replay, after the first time we view it, I have to ask Sean that we review that replay from the point of view of the 48 car.
Absolutely. We will do that. So let's see if we can get a wreck replay in here and figure out what happened on that caution right off the bat. And let's see if we can get a actually look like it started kind of before all this. But let's
Big Lug Sluggers saving a little bit of damage.
Let's you said the 48 car, correct?
Yes, sir. He had a pretty good view of what just happened there, and I think he made it through without incident.
And we will go into his cockpit here in just a second. But that's Joseph DuPont. He makes it through cleanly, it looks like. Let's go one more time and see if we can see this from Joseph DuPont's point of view. Oh, you can see they're wrecking all the way up there.
Man, he has a wild ride through this thing. Cars all over the place, but didn't bother him at all, Sean. He just wheeled that machine right through there.
Yes, he did. Now, I'll tell you, I called Joseph DuPont Mr. Consistency a little bit earlier, and that is why, because he doesn't put himself at risk very often, but he's one of those guys that he can drive through just like that. He's got complete control over that car.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, again, I said it on broadcast before. Myself, huge Kyle Busch fan, big fan of Kyle Busch. My pick tonight, Sean, you know who it is, that 48 machine. I've got a soft spot for Jimmy Johnson. I'm picking Joseph DuPont to wheel that 48 machine to victory here at the end of this thing.
You know what? I'm going to go a little bit different than you. I'm going to pick one of these drivers that came over from another driver that came over from MSN. I am going to pick David Duke in that 79 Coco car.
Solid pick. You know, it's a solid pick, and it's tough to bet against David Duke anywhere he goes. He's another one of those drivers. I know, you know, people may consider us biased, Sean, when we broadcast a race and we pick our guys at MSM. That's where our deepest roots run. But we don't do that just because, you know, we know these guys, Sean. We do that because we see week in and week out every Sunday night for almost an entire year now. We've seen the cream rise to the top. You know, they've really showed that they're the drivers that you should always pick and never count out.
Well, and we've got some great drivers up here in this league also that have been with this league the whole time. So Jonathan Warren leading the pack right now, Forrest Wynn right behind him, Dustin Webb right behind him. So three great drivers there. I will tell you that about half the field pitted that time around. So that's going to put a little bit more of an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, that's for sure. I will say one thing that worries me, though, Sean. Anytime that Jake Roell's in the field and I don't pick Jake Roell, he proves me wrong. So I'm going to stick with Joseph DuPont. I do see he's got a little bit of rear-end damage on that machine, but I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if Jake Roell didn't prove me wrong again tonight.
Just remember what happened the last time you changed your pick mid-broadcast. So for those of you that weren't there, for those of you that weren't there at that broadcast, last time he changed his pick mid-broadcast, the person he originally picked and then changed off from ended up winning the race.
Yeah, it's never been good for me making picks, so if there's anybody that I know, Mr. Consistency could be the one to change that, make me a winner, so to speak, you know, and really kind of change my luck. Hopefully I don't jinx him. Just for all the fans, and especially for Joseph DuPont, if he's watching this back later, you had the damage before I picked you, buddy. I didn't cause that rear end damage.
Now, another person in this race right now, and we touched on him a little bit earlier, is Jason Tripp. And here he is in his number 91 car up there at the top of the track. So the number 91 Speed Racing Network car. So a great driver in his own right, but he has been spending his time being an admin for the Mid-South Madness League. So fantastic guy, fantastic driver. We are about to see if he's any good anymore.
The one place that I have to admit, now I'm not saying it's the only time Jason Tripp's ever beaten me, but the one time I have to admit that he straight up beat me was at a restrictor plate night race at Daytona. It was just a for fun race. It was nothing on the line. You know, we were just kind of joking around and having a good time, and he flat out beat me to the line. I was able to show him some drafting tips that really changed his drafting ability, and I wouldn't count him out here tonight, Sean.
No, not at all. As long as he can keep that car clean, he's got a shot. And so a very quick racer that is out there. But right now, Jonathan Warren leading us around to get us restarted, Brandon.
Yeah, and it's about to get a little crazy here again. I hear the frustration in driver chat, a little bit of these guys wanting the long green flag run. And so far, Sean, it hasn't been the case. We're about to tick off a quarter of this race. Right now, the pace car leaving us to go to pit road, and it's back in the hands of Jonathan Warren in the 78 machine. A great restart by the 77 on his outside. Right now, 3 wide, already about 4 rows back. The 48 of DuPont, the 87 of, I believe that's Wampler, and the 08 car, all 3 wide already. So, you know, settling down and riding doesn't seem to be on the calendar for these guys.
No, and make no mistake that this is one of those tracks that decisions happen. I mean, every millisecond you're making a separate decision out there, and one mistake will cause a wreck throughout the entire pack. So the frustration is well warranted because, one mistake could make a big difference out there. But at the same time, you have to remember these guys are making thousands of decisions every second.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. If you go back to the actual NASCAR Cup race at Daytona a couple weeks ago, that one split-second decision by, I think it was Tyler Reddick, to slide up in front of Kyle Busch, totaled a lot of race cars, Sean, and it wasn't really something that he done wrong. Kyle knew the move was coming. He lifted for him. He just misjudged how far right to turn the car, put it in the wall, and totaled a bunch of cars. So even when you're making the right decision that works for you, sometimes it's not the right decision. But I do have to say one thing that I said earlier, and I think it's the case right now, is that Jake Rowell and Daniel Bowdler at the front of this pack?
Back to back, it's Jake Rowell and Daniel Bowdler pushing each other up to the front of the pack. These guys really know how to get together out there on the track. And here's the fun part. In the other league that they race in, they are not even teammates.
Yeah, and that's the cool part about Daniel Bowdler. When it comes to plate racing, he sticks to his own. He sticks to his teammates. So the guys that he's primarily teammates with here are likely all the guys from Mid-South Madness, the guys in his comfort zone. However, right now, the only teammate he's concerned about is one he feels has got the best shot to get him to the front, keep him there. And right now, that's Jake Rowell. We see a car pull out of line, drop into the back there. I think that's the Havoline, number 4 car. Decided that he had too much of it. Kyle Benson saying, "Nah, guys, there's still a lot of racing left to go. You guys do your thing." But you can kind of see, just what I know about Daniel Bowdler right now. He's not really trying to lead the most laps or even push Jake to the most laps led. He's kind of sagged off that bumper a little bit, letting it be what it is, I guess would be the way to say it. Jonathan Warren, Forrest Wynn on the outside, both able to hold their own, though. David Duke behind them. I tell you the one thing, Sean, that I find funny here tonight, we have the 77, the 78, and the 79 that have seemingly been together the entire race. And I just find it ironic, that those 3 cars, 3 sequential numbers, have been glued to each other so far.
Hey, sometimes that's how it works out. But, I'll tell you, one really big troubling thing out there is the amount of air that's getting to these engines as well. So every now and then you have to pop out and get some air on that engine. Otherwise, you are going to blow that thing sky high.
Yeah, and right now the car that's running, I would imagine the best race so far, Dustin Webb in the 111. He's right there in the mix of things. He's technically in the top 5 as we speak right now. However, that car, I guarantee you, it's cool as a cucumber. It's not, he's out for a Wednesday night stroll here, just hanging on, doing his thing, not really worried about too much, Sean.
Yeah, and to their credit, this is a fantastic green flag race right now because most leagues, this goes 2 laps and then a yellow flag. So they're doing a fantastic job keeping control of their vehicles out there.
Yeah, and a lot of times, I don't know, I haven't got the restrictor plate race since the previous update, but if you look back here, around that 91 machine, the 48 machine, both of Jason Tripp and Joseph DuPont, you kind of see a little bit of swaying back and forth. A lot of people consider that not holding a line, Sean. That's certainly not the case here with so many air forces as well as, the force into the corners, that things like that happen. But I will say typically when you see things like that, when you see the swaying back and forth, it's usually a lot worse than these guys are showing right now. So could be a spin. Oh, David Duke almost lost that machine there. He's going to lose a ton of time, maybe a missed shove by Joseph DuPont. But these guys are doing very, very well at holding their own, holding their cars together, not swaying all over the place. And obviously the top line now losing just a little bit of ground as far as drafting goes, Sean.
Well, going back to what you were saying, with all the air that's going around these cars, drive down the interstate going 65 miles an hour, open your window, stick your hand out, and your hand almost blows away. These guys are going almost 200 miles an hour, so try that.
And 2x2, 3x3, they're wrecking in the back.
Yes, they are. Let's go back and find out what happened. It looks like Mike Eberhardt involved there. So let's go back for another Dent Wizard wreck replay. So Mike Everhart here in the number 64 car. That's the orange and white car. He gets up, he gets turned a little bit, gets down into the number 11. That's Austin Reedy. That is not going to be good for his championship hopes, and then all sorts of damage going on behind that.
Yeah, and it almost looked like there. Can we watch that one more time, Sean? I'll give you, my point of view on it. As you see these guys coming through the trioval here, those two at the top, 31 and the 64. He gets such a run. The 51 Mitchell Brown tries to go with him, and I don't think that follow car there, I think it was a 31, really reacted fast enough to the fact that the 51 had changed lanes. And by the time he did, the 64 let off the gas, the 31 did not, and it just contact shoved him around. See, it's almost a late block here by Mitchell Brown in the 51. They're not really together, but they are, Sean. There's so much aero push going on here. He goes to peek out to see what's going on. The 51's there. The 64 starts lifting because he doesn't want to turn him. The 31 doesn't. Stays on the gas, and right now he realizes it, but it's too late. And unfortunately for Austin Reedy, boom, there he is. Nowhere to go, in the wrong spot at the wrong time. And I'll say it's just Daytona, man, and I hate that for Austin Reedy above all else.
Yep, so Austin Reedy, there is still a fast repair out there, so that is a good thing that will help him get back out there on the track. But he is probably going to need that fast repair a little bit later, too, because this is Daytona.
Yeah, and now I would say about 5 fast repairs or the right amount of fast repairs for restrictor plate race, and it kind of takes the fun and conservativeness out of it. However, it's one of those things that you got to save it. You got to pick and choose when you use it. Unfortunately, I think Austin Reedy's will go away here because that was hard contact, Sean.
Most of the course coming in for pit stops, but the top 4 here, none of them have come in for pits yet. So Jake Rowell, Daniel Ballard, Jason Tripp, Chad Wampler, none of them have pitted yet.
The top 5 right now, Sean, Mid-South Madness drivers. So a little bit of strategy to work together there. The 19, Jake Rowell, the 14 of Daniel Ballard, the 36 of Jason Tripp, 87 of Chad Wampler, the 48 of Joseph Dupont. It was weird saying those numbers and not the typical numbers we see, and even the numbers on the race car. But a lot of those guys staying out there together. Not really sure. David Duke, another one of the Mid-South Madness drivers, did pit, though. So maybe some differing strategies amongst those guys. I think likely we had 1 or 2 other Mid-South Madness drivers pit as well. But, man, they're trying to make their way known here in four-wide racing.
Well, I mean, definitely 2 things you have to worry about at any track, and that's tires and fuel. Well, here at Daytona, tires aren't as big of an issue because of the huge draft you get, but fuel, that is the issue. And so it's just a matter of when are these guys going to pit so that they can make it to the end of the race.
Do we not have a pit stop yet for the 19 or the 6 at all?
We do not.
I will tell you just by my experience, and I don't know, do you happen to know what the fuel load setting is in this league?
I do not, actually, so I apologize.
Oh, no, it's one thing that we will have to clear up. It's no big deal. We'll say if it's at 70%, I would expect them to come in within the next 10 laps. I don't think they could go much further. However, if by chance they can stretch it, Sean, they can stretch it to lap 41, which would be nearly impossible in my opinion. But if they can, with caution lap, stretch it to 41, they may only have to pit once this race. I do think you have to take tires here one time. I think, some of these guys may have already taken theirs. You can easily run 60 laps on tires. 80 is a little bit far because your tires get so hot that they seemingly become mushy. I do think we'll see drivers take tires at least once here. Some guys may gamble it and say, you know what, we'll figure it out from here. But interesting how the strategy is split so far.
Is this one of those tracks that you can take 2 tires and still have a reasonable shot at it, or is the heat on the track too much for that?
If you're going to take 2, I say you take 4. And it has nothing to do with the heat on the track, especially, Sean, if you're green flag. I know in another league that I ran, we were just as fast as the leaders. We were on 60-lap tires, and it was, there was no worry in our mind. But when you come off a pit road, you may as well, in your hallway right now if you're watching, go get some Pledge furniture polish, some vegetable oil, and a couple other things to make that floor slick, and try to run through there. Because when you come off a pit road, that apron, that's what it's going to feel like, Sean. The track's not so much a problem because you have so many forces holding the car together. But the problem is trying to get off pit road without totaling it.
Well, we're about to see what these guys are going to do this time around. We got Daniel Bowler on the outside, Jake Rowell on the inside. Pace car drops off. Jake Rowell has the restart, and there he goes, and Daniel Bowler tucks in right behind him immediately.
And I wish I could be down there in the chat listening to that because I've been on Jake's end of that.
Oh.
Hey, you know, they saved it. I imagine that tri-oval sounded like, all right, Jake, get it going. I'm coming in behind you. Jake jumped on the gas. Daniel jumped on the gas, switched lanes. And you see the front three right now, Jake Rowell, Daniel Bowler, Jason Tripp, all trying to run away with this thing. But there's about 30 other drivers behind him, Sean, that are going to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yes, they are. So for those of you that don't know, when we race out here, we do have people in chat channels, and it looks like these top 3, actually 5 guys are all in the same chat channel. So they are definitely working together.
If I'm not mistaken, it just became the top 6.
It did.
I think that's the 26 car of Jacob Smith, who's also with those guys. So we see, you know, we see Tyler Werner, you know, Aaron Murray, those guys, Austin Reedy, Jay Gimbel, Mitch Brown, Roman Long, all, you know, they've got their big, long team up there, and that's typically the biggest team we see each week as far as teammates go. But here tonight, Sean, we've got the Mid-South Madness guys that have came to town to party, and you see they're 1 through 6 right now. They're equalizing what we see out of, you know, Roman Long's team.
You know, and Jake Rowell drives on one of the teams that I sponsor and in that Mid-South Madness league. And I'll tell you, he is not one that lets the lead go very easily. He does not want to be in second place. He wants to be the guy up front, so he has no chance of being involved in a wreck.
Yeah, and it's the same with Daniel Bowler when it comes to restrictor plate racing. You know, I've been in several of the North League races and not, and I'm like, hey, you know, Daniel, we've got a long race here, man. Let's just ride around at the back. Nah, man, you know, I think the safest spot on the racetrack's at the front. So those two guys being paired together, Sean, above all else, is scary because they're going to do everything they can to make sure they're the lead cars always.
Now, I'll tell you, there is a strategy out there that has been used before where there's a second pack back in the back. Now, that has not happened just yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if we have a couple more cautions if a bunch of these cars go back to the back, stay about 5 or 6 seconds behind, so that way they can avoid wrecks the rest of the race.
Yeah, and if we can, I'm not sure. Let me see if I can locate what driver it is back there. The 111 maybe, right behind him. I'm not sure who's directly behind him. I saw it. There it is. And you see the Pride car in the very back. I can't really see the numbers on it. Let's continue to shift back through here. That Pride car, the Jimmy Johnson Pride, that one right behind the 31, maybe now. I'm not sure with the car back. He's the reason that, yes, that right there, the 30 car. Stephen Brunner. So the reason I wanted to key in on Stephen Brunner, he's been the guy that I've been watching here as we run. He's always been right here, Sean. He's not, you know, he's not really running a second pack, but you see there, not sure who that is. The 8 car is maybe Tyler Murray drafting up on his outside. He's not really pressuring that guy. You know, he's saying, hey, you want the high side? Go ahead. I'm comfortable right here. 2-3 car lengths behind the 31. He's almost working that second pack mechanic by staying with the front pack. He's just back out of the way, giving himself ample time to react and get out of the way. And I think that's, you know, that might be the strategy right now. He's still in the main draft, and as I say that, he decides he's going to pass a few, Sean.
This is a broadcaster's curse in the opposite direction, but, you know, we're not even halfway in this race yet. And so right now, I mean, you can take one of two strategies. Hang back and relax. You've got plenty of time, or stay up front like Jake Rowell's doing right now. These guys in the middle of the pack, they're the ones in the danger zone.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And honestly, I typically side with, if I can be Jake Rowell and Daniel Bowler, I'm all for being Jake Rowell and Daniel Bowler. I will say, though, as we start to knock laps away here and we get down to 30 to go, 20 to go, Sean, I no longer want to be Daniel Bowler and Jake Rowell, because right now they're able to just shove the crap out of each other and, you know, stay up front. However, in about 20 laps, 30 laps, that's not going to be the case. Everyone's rushing to get there. So that's when that first position safe zone kind of goes away, and you more so want to be Stephen Brunner in the back, who's continuing to just ride on the bottom back there. He passed a couple cars, settled right back in. He's got about a 3-4 car length gap back to David Duke now. Not really worried about a whole lot. You see this outside line there. I see the 20 car leading it, trying to get it going. We saw Jacob Smith earlier leading that outside line, and it stalled just about as quickly as it got together. So right now, the front three, Jason Tripp, Jake Roel, and Daniel Bowdler, not that order, but they kind of have no pressure right now, Sean.
No, and make no mistake, I mean, everybody is looking at the front of that pack, just waiting to see if they can make it through this entire race cleanly, because odds are, and we've seen it plenty of times in the past, it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah, and I think right now, if I'm Brandon Banks in that 20 car leading the outside line, the one thing that I want to know, how fast can I lead the guys behind me up to the leader? Because if you say it's 2 laps, you don't worry about that till 2 to go. If you say it's 4 laps, you start worrying about it at 4 to go. Right now, you're just learning. You don't care if you lead this lap or not. That ball's point's not going to make or break you, unless you're Austin Reedy or James Holtzer. Right now, none of those guys are around, so they're all tucked in the pack somewhere back there, but they're not the main leaders of the pack right now, Sean. And I see what I'm seeing rather is not very comforting if you're the 20 car. You've been riding now for 3 laps side by side with that 87 car. You haven't gained any ground, and maybe it be that car right behind you there. You see there's about a car length gap between him, and I'm not really sure of the numbers. Maybe that is James Holtzer directly behind him. I'm trying to...
If it's the number 88, and I'll point him out right there, the Credit 1 number 88 blue car.
I think it's going to be Matt Robertson, the 16 that I was referring to. He's got a gap behind Brandon Banks in that 20 car. He's going to close it in the corner, but it's almost like he can't stay there. You see Mitchell Brown going to decide, nope, guys, we're going to go with the bottom. But now, the top line yet again falling apart. James Holtzer, is that who you were referring to in the 88 car was James Holtzer?
That's correct. So, and he just got a nice little bump. Oh, we might have something going on here. Oh, careful, James. Oh, the number 26. That's Jacob Smith gets loose. And that starts it all off. Oh, my goodness. We just saw that completely live.
I'm not really sure what happened to the 26 car, but I saw him lose it and save it, lose it, and lose it. So
James Holtzer not needing that right now, but of course, the couple guys that are catching up to him in the point standings are still kind of back in the pack, so he might still have a chance at this. But let's go back and let's see if we can get another look at that with another Dent Wizard Rec replay.
I want to know what kind of happened with the 26 car there. If he had a little bit of help, maybe a premature shove off the corner, but we're about to find out, Sean.
Well, let's pull up and let's see if we can see what happens up in the front here. So the 26, and once again, that's Jacob Smith. There's nothing in front of him. He just breaks loose.
And I'm not really sure how he got there either, Sean. Looking back,
Nobody
he was one
close.
of the guys kind of tucked in behind the Mid-South Madness cars, which you see there in this shot. The 5 of them have kind of checked out on the 2 behind them, but all of a sudden, he starts falling back. I don't know if he got too hot maybe, or, just went into the corner. And
you can see a couple other guys involved. Jay Gimbel is involved in that wreck, as well as, so many cars. Brandon Banks involved in that.
I believe that was Austin Reedy who just squeaked between the 111 and the 12 car there as the 12 car come down. So obviously a big opportunity for Austin Reedy here. I think he's going to do the same thing we saw DuPont do and just kind of drive through the chaos.
He does.
Yep.
Look at that. What a fantastic move by him to get down onto the apron safely and get around so many spinning cars.
Yeah, and to even get it slowed up that quick too, Sean, down on the apron, there's not as much grip, and, you typically have, pretty even braking here at Daytona. So just his ability to slow it down without kicking that back into that machine sideways is very much kudos to Austin Reedy in that 11 car.
And right now, up front, we have Debbie Hutchins in the pedigree car leading this race. Not sure if she's planning on coming into the pits here this time around. She looks like she does have some damage on that car.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, sometimes the prettiest race car doesn't go to victory lane, and there's a little bit of damage there for the 82 machine of Debbie Hutchins, but that's okay. Maybe saving the fast repair for later. Obviously, you see that right front, not very aerodynamic, Sean. So we'll see what she does this time by.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for her to be up in the lead, especially with that type of damage. Not sure if she's going to try to play this out or what. Now, right behind her is Stephen Waldrop in the number 6 Viagra car. So I know we were talking about Daniel Bowler being in the number 6 a little bit earlier. His actual car on the track, or on the scoreboard at least, is number 14. So we do have a couple number 6s out there, but the official number 6 is Stephen Waldrop there in second place.
Yeah, and I know that's got to be confusing a little bit for our guys in chat out there. The 78 is actually Jonathan Warren. He's running the Texaco car. David Duke right now running the Coco car. He's actually the 79, but his car is custom stamped with the 78 for, on the broadcast. Jason Tripp showing the 91 machine. He's actually the 36, the 36. So that's a little bit confusing, I know. Also, one more. I remember seeing one more. I think it's going to be, for me at least, I have another car showing the wrong number, and I can't remember for me who it was. But
it's not Jake. I can't remember. Yeah, so there's another car out there definitely that is showing the incorrect number.
So if, we're referring, like Sean said, if we refer to the 6th, and it's actually Daniel Bowler and not Stephen Waldrop, it's because that's the number showing on the car. And all the other series that I've personally ran with Daniel Bowler, he's always been the 6 car. So it's easy. It just rolls off the tongue for me. So that'll be a little mistake. It's kind of confusing. We do have 2 6 cars, 2 78 cars. And again, there's another one. The 91 is actually the 36. I'm trying to remember. Oh, and the 91 car is the 91 car. We do actually have a 91 car in here. It's going to be Cody Havens. I'm not sure where on the track he is right now, Sean, or if he's even still on the track, but he was the 91 machine.
Well, we are coming around to the start-finish line, and it looks like Debbie Hutchins, I'm not really sure what that other car was doing, but Debbie Hutchins is going to take us to the start-finish line, going back to green at lap 42.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure what that car was doing as well, maybe trying to get out of the way. I actually think I might have saw it head down pit road, but kind of giving some grief to Debbie Hutchins there on that restart. Everyone letting her know she had damage. She was well aware that she had damage on that machine. She just wanted to see what it could do, and obviously right now she's pulling out, just saying, hey guys, go ahead. I've got damage. I'm trying to make it somewhere around, this could get nasty here, Sean. Okay, they're going to blend back there in near Debbie Hutchins, blending back to the track. It got a little hairy there for a moment, but yet again, here we see Jake Roel in the front two, shoving a new member of Mid-South Madness, or a new member for this race here. We typically saw him with the Daniel Bowler machine, now shoving David Duke out to the lead.
So David Duke in the number 79 car on the scoreboard. 78 is on his car right now, but Jake Roel pushing him, and they're starting to get a little bit of a gap there. Number 48 of Joseph DuPont, Mr. Consistency, up there in third.
Yeah, and in the chat, I'm not sure if he's still with us. I see Travis Trevelyan out there, JFR. I'll tell you, the J is Jake and the R is Roel. We'll let you guys ad-lib to figure out what the F stands for. Right now, Travis Trevelyan, also a member of Mid-South Madness, pulling for his teammate in that series, Sean.
That's right. And so looking at the top 5 right now, only member up there that is not in Mid-South Madness is number 5, the 5th place driver, number 31, Brady Floyd. Now, keep in mind that Chad Wampler has moved up 28 spots from the very first of this race, and Brady Floyd, now back in 6th place, has moved up 23 spots. So they're our biggest movers of the night.
Yeah, and I just find it so tough if we can manage to have all of these guys from Mid-South Madness team up, stay married to each other, Sean. I find it so tough to dethrone those guys. It would take so many cars on the outside, but obviously they're not contractually obligated to each other. When it comes down to the last 5 laps, who knows who's going to go where?
And look up at the top line right now. You got Jonathan Warren in that 78 Texaco car, and then you have him getting pushed by Mitchell Brown, and then Kyle Benson right behind that. So they are looking at these Mid-South Madness guys and saying, no, not so fast. We're coming back.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure what got the 6-car of Bowler separated from that 19, but obviously, you know, that's been a game changer. You see the difference here in the way that, you know, drafting works together. Sean, we saw the 19 being shoved by the 6, and no car on the outside line had got to him. You know, now we see the 19 doing the shoving on the 78, and I'm not saying either one of those guys can't do their jobs, but sometimes, you know, racing at restrictor plate racing or restrictor plate tracks works a lot like trying to find your soulmate, right, Sean? So you got to find that perfect car combination. And right now I have to say it has to be the 19 and the 14 because, you know, even though now we have the 51, the 78 on the top up there, here come the 19 and the 78 back. So they're pretty even. But the 6 and the 19 seemed untouchable up there.
Well, and here comes that number 19. I'm sorry, the number 6 down there on the inside, the 4th car back. That is Daniel Bowler getting back up towards the front.
Yeah, and he's looking for his soulmate, so to speak, the guy that he works best with so far. That's been that 19 machine. Now just one car separates them. I thought we were going to see Jake Roel poke that 19 to the outside and maybe try to hold space until the 6 car gets there. But right now, the 4 bottom cars, Mid-South Madness, the top 2 cars, the 4 wide racing regulars. And here yet again, man, that's a solid shove, I will say. The 51 and the 78 kind of seemingly on their own up there on the top. Not really a lot of help from Kyle Benson in the 4, but they've been making it work so far.
Man, if they can all stay up here at the front, this is going to be a fantastic finish. Still 33 laps to go here at Daytona.
Yeah, man, this is where the intensity starts picking up, Sean. It's starting to get a little hairy. You know, you're over halfway through. You're knocking on the door of 3/4 of the race being done here in about 13 laps. So, man, you see him, well, actually not really sure. Jake Roel choosing to lead that 78 machine. And I'll tell you the one thing that would worry me if I was Jake, that allows the 6 car to get 1 car closer to that 78. Jake just wanted the lead back, Sean.
Well, that's what we talked about a little bit earlier. He hates not being in the lead, but now he's going to be up front. David Duke is going to push him a little bit. His car might have been getting a little bit hot.
Yeah, and certainly one way to cool it is to be the first car meeting all of that air, and he done just that. I do have to wonder, you know, if this 51 is starting to get hot, Sean, because he's been behind that 78 for just as long as the 19 was behind the 79 on the bottom line.
And honestly, if that number 78 wanted to, he could dive down there to the front and get pushed by Jake Roel and kind of lock them in there.
Yeah, and I'm honestly surprised, maybe not wanting to leave Mitchell Brown, but I think there's about to be a trigger pulled in driver chat where he says, hey, buddy, if you're going to go because I'm getting hot. That's the way that this works. You know, when you're on the high line, you see the 78 Texaco car up there now. Typically what you want, the 51 car, the second in line, he's going to shove you to the lead. By the time he shoves you there, he's going to be hot, Sean. So you're going to want to jump to the bottom, give him to breathe. Then it's up to the 4 car to shove him to the front by the time he gets him there. And it's just a revolving door of who's where and when they're there, you know, that you have to time the checkers game that is restrictor plate racing, or the chess game, so to speak, the right way to be the right car at the front at the right time. And obviously now you see the 51 having to back off the back bumper. That 78 didn't get the job done. That's the problem when, you know, you say, hey, I don't want to leave my teammate up here on the high line. Now, for the moment, Jonathan Warren in that 78 car has missed his opportunity, Sean.
Now, if these top 3 cars do this correctly, then Joseph DuPont in the 48 could get up to the top and then get pushed to the lead and let these other cars push him so his car can cool off. So they're playing a lot of strategy out here. It's really a lot of fun to watch that, like you were saying, the game of chess that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not sure. I think Mitchell Brown is all for nothing right now because I know that car didn't cool off that quick, Sean, and he's right back up on the back bumper now trying to offset through the tri-oval, breathe on the left, breathe on the right, get any air he can to the front end of that 51. He shoved the 78 clear again. Will he go? Nope. Says, hey, don't want to leave you up here, buddy. Keep shoving. And again, it's going to bite him, Sean.
And here comes David Duke pushing Jake Roel there on the bottom. And so it's just back and forth. And at some point, one line has to give so that second car can cool off.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're seeing in the straights now, because you'll see here, likely maybe on the front straightaway, Mitchell Brown goes down, side drafts off the 48 machine. Mitchell Brown is in the 51 there, the second car on the high line. And then he's going to get a run down the straightaway. And he didn't really get as big of a run now, so likely still cool in that car. But you'll see him again down into this corner here, Sean. If we stay high enough where we can take a peek at it, he'll kind of come down. Nope, this time still breathing the car. So I think they may have actually stalled that run out now, allowing that 51 car to cool down for the moment. I think they'll make another charge. But as I was saying, what you'll see is one of those top cars, whether it be the 51, the 78, the 4. Oh, now Daniel Bowler going to join the outside line, tired of riding. Just as I had said before, that's one guy that never wants to ride, the same as Jake Rowell. And now, what I expect to see, Sean, when we get up here, the 111 lap down car. Once we get that 6 back up here, I think Jake Rowell will time it perfectly that the 6 is outside of the 78, and then he'll decide that he's going to go with the 6 instead of staying in line there, because the 6 has showed him the most success.
I really think that Ballard is hoping to get pushed up to the front so that he can jump down in front of Rowell and then them work together one more time. But right now, not getting the push that he needs to get up there. Rowell is getting pushed way too well by David Duke and Joseph DuPont there.
Yeah, and you had Daniel Ballard leave that Mid-South Madness crew on the bottom line, but just as easily you have the 26 of Jacob Smith that rejoined them, and now Mitchell Brown in that 51 car who we saw shoving the 78. I guess Jake Rowell is going to say, nope, I'm sticking with David Duke down here, Daniel. Come and get it. So right now, man, I tell you, that 6 car has been tough, Sean. Anytime he tries to go to the front, he just kind of brings the car running with him right along behind him. And we'll see how well they fare in the corner here. Typically, the bottom line has the advantage. Yes, the 78 on the high lines is going to check up and kind of surrender that. But watch the run now. Daniel Ballard, even with the second place car, if Jake's going to go, he's got to go now, because Daniel's going to have a huge run by the time. Oh, well, David Duke equalized that run, Sean. It's a chess match, back and forth, slobber knocker right now.
Still with 25 laps to go, and this is how hard these guys are driving. Can they sustain this for another 25 laps?
No, Sean, I don't think they can. And the reason I say that is because on the high line, Daniel and Jonathan Warren, Daniel Ballard and Jonathan Warren want the lead. On the bottom line, Jake Rowell and David Duke want to keep it. And everyone else right now, if you're not those 4 cars, you're in the danger zone, because one mistake by the 78, or seemingly the 78, which is actually the 79 car on the bottom, one mistake could wreck a lot of these race cars. They're just trying all they can try. Joseph DuPont and Kyle Benson right now, in my opinion, are in the worst spot, Sean, because they're going to have nowhere to go if something were to happen with these front couple cars in front of them.
Well, right now everybody seems to be working together really nicely and really evenly. Not too much pushing, even though they definitely got the foot down to the pedal, or down to the metal there. But looks like Jake Rowell is getting a nice little lead. So now we can do a little bit of shuffling here if they want to.
Yeah, and I will say, again, it goes back to what I was saying before. We saw Jake Rowell, Daniel Bowler, and Jason Tripp as the front 3 cars. We never really saw anyone get alongside of them. Even though Daniel Bowler has fallen back on that outside line, it doesn't seem as powerful now with it being Rowell, Duke, and DuPont down there on the bottom, because you see now, yet again, without even the hardest of shoves, Daniel Ballard kind of rebounding toward the front with Jonathan Warren and Chad Wampler. Now going to fall back. Another big run puts him back about the 3rd place car, and he just got left out to dry.
Well, and one more thing, if you look here, so this is your second pack. Okay, so your second pack back there that we talked about a little bit earlier, that they could form up back there, kind of stay out of trouble there. There's 5 of them right there, and then a little bit further back, 4 more. Actually, about 6 more back here. So they're all getting together back there. So lots of runs that could happen towards the end. But right now, up front is where all the party's at.
Let's bounce back real quick, Sean. I want to touch back to that second pack that's riding back far behind. I want you to look one more time at the guy kind of leading that. Right there, the number 11 car, Austin Reedy, knows James Holtzer's already had trouble. He's got his teammates Tyler Werner, Tyler Murray, I think that is. Tyler Murray in the 33, Tyler Werner. The 8 car is Tyler Murray, and then Roman Long behind him. So maybe some team orders, trying to keep that car alive in the playoffs, knowing that Holtzer had a little bit of issue earlier. Obviously, he's worse off than they are. Can we actually see where exactly that 88 car is
That
on the track?
88 is 24 seconds further back. And so he is in danger right now. Not really in danger of getting lapped just yet, but he's back there with a 3-man pack. And so they're just riding around hoping for a caution.
Yeah, and on the opposite end of that 11 car that we saw, not hoping for a caution right now because he's sitting pretty. Even if that 88 car goes a lap down, doesn't ever get it back, and we'll say it's, 25th, the first car 1 lap down, it doesn't seem like a lot. But if he's the first car 1 lap down, Sean, and doesn't get that lap back, on the other hand, while Austin Reedy can pass 15 cars in a matter of 3 seconds here, that could show big in the playoff implications.
And look at the big pack coming up behind them, so they better get a move on because they are in danger of being lapped. Here comes Jake Rowell. Jacob Smith moving into the lead on the outside line while we were away.
Yeah, and he's got that 6 car behind him. I'm telling you guys, if there's anyone here, the top 6 Mid-South Madness drivers, but if there's anyone you want behind you, it's Daniel Bowdler in that 6 machine. He's so dangerous, and you see there, Jacob Smith going to leave him, and here's where, almost Daniel's going to find his downfall again because he shoved that 26 car up there, and he's so lightning fast when he's shoving, but doesn't really have anyone to match his pushing ability right now as he continues to slide further and further back. Chad Wampler, his teammate in our other series, maybe trying to help him, but nobody can shove it like that 6 car can shove it, John.
Well,
or
now,
14, sorry.
Now, I'll tell you, the reason that Jacob Smith went up and got in front of Jake Rowell, they are teammates in Mid-South Madness, and then Daniel Bowdler and Chad Wampler are teammates in Mid-South Madness, so that is the perfect combos out there, teammates versus teammates. Let's figure out what happens here.
Yeah, and unfortunately for those teammates on the outside, the teammates on the inside have kind of shown the way when we call their races. So, again, Kyle Benson right now, I believe, no, not anymore. We have a car up there on the high line leading the way for the 4-wide racing regulars here in this race. I wasn't able to catch the number, but I'll check it on the scoreboard to see who it shows. 25 right now. I'm showing that as Connor Trafari?
That's what I'm saying, and I know he's going to be mad at me when I get done with this because I've probably butchered it. But Connor Trafari is what I'm going with.
That's what it seems like to me, but Mitchell Brown, another regular, following his lead right now, trying to prove that they're going to do this thing and not let it get taken away from them by a Mid-South Madness. A lot of checking up going through there the tryover.
But right now, Jacob Smith in a very comfortable position. He has been one of the best racers I've seen in the past few weeks. Jake Rowell right there with him, and then Daniel Bowdler, a really recent winner in Mid-South Madness, winning this past week. So 3 really great drivers up here being pushed by a couple more great drivers. That's David Duke and Chad Wampler.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see what Daniel does here when he gets clear.
Oh, dove down.
Isn't even going to leave us hanging on the question. He's going to take the lead of this thing with only 19 to go. 3/4 of the race now gone. I think.
Oh, Rowell and Wampler get touched up.
Trafari and Duke, then by design, touch as well right behind them. So starting to get a little bit dicey, a little bit shaky. Stephen Brunner keyed up and was a little bit worried, about what had happened. Maybe some trouble back there with him as well. I heard him not really, confused about what was going on, it seemed like. But, man, that outside line, Chad Wampler has proven me wrong because here he continues to just drive that front pack on the high line up to the outside. And I would imagine, Sean, it shouldn't be long before they would start catching that other pack unless they already have due to them pulling off the racetrack.
No, not quite yet. So James Holtzer is still 39 seconds ahead of this pack. And so they've still got a good 5 or 6 seconds before they get to him. So it'll be a little while. Chad Wampler dropping down to the inside, and he is going to take the lead.
I think that was a very bold move by Wampler here, and I wonder at what point these guys start using the side draft. All it would take would be Daniel Bowdler, Chad Wampler, one of those guys to put the right side of their race car against the outside line, and they'll just lose all momentum. And I think now you see Bowdler giving Wampler a shove. We may see him start to do just that. Going to kind of, going to come up. There you go. You see Ballard just for a second trying to take the air away. He got it. Now he's going to go back down to the bottom, and you'll see that top line kind of lose a little bit momentum more than they would have. Typically, by this point in the straightaway, Sean, we would have seen that top car taking the lead, but Ballard was able to take just enough air off of the 51 and the 25 up there to slow him down for the moment.
And Chad Wampler still leads this race. On the outside, though, Connor Trafari and Mitchell Brown trying to get together back there to try to move forward. Now, the number 4 of Kyle Benson dives down to the inside line, possibly to break up some of this Mid-South Madness fun.
Yeah, and I heard Tyler Murray just key up and let guys know that he still has to pit. So we'll see just how many cars have to join that 8 machine on pit road. Tyler Murray among those guys in that the second pack, or the second pack. They're the final pack back there, of course, running with teammate Austin Reedy. So they will be making their pit stops here before too long, Sean. And you have to wonder how many of our leaders have to join them, and when they do. Unfortunately for everyone on the outside line, all of the inside line minus Kyle Benson and the 4 likely will pit together, being as they're in the same Discord channel. Actually, Tyler Murray making his way down pit road this time by.
Well, and now last he pitted was on lap 17. Everyone else has pitted on lap 39 or 40. So Tyler Murray probably running out of fuel. The rest of these guys, they might be able to make it, Brandon.
So let me do that math again. You said Tyler pitted when?
On lap 17.
So 17, and right now we should be on lap 66.
That's correct, yeah.
So obviously able to make it 50 laps. Yeah, I don't think these front guys have to pit anymore. Obviously they may, just for the weight in the race car if the caution comes out, but it seems to me with the caution laps that we've had, they should be good to go.
I mean, I'm honestly surprised we haven't had more caution laps, and that's really going to do some damage back here in the back of the pack where we have Austin Reedy, Roman Long, Jason Tripp about 20 seconds behind the leaders. They are hoping for a caution so they can race for this victory, but if it stays green, there's no chance of that.
I will say I don't think they have a thing to worry about, Sean. If you look back up front, there's so many cars starting to surface now to run for this thing, and honestly, that could put Austin Reedy and that 11 machine back there in that second pack, the odds-on favorite to win, because Chad Wampler and Connor Trafari get together here, and they're going to wreck all the cars behind them. It'll just be up to those guys to avoid it and hopefully have a fast repair. Of course, I wish we did have the information among what leaders still have their fast repair. I would imagine there are a few in the front pack that may have already used theirs, but for the time being, 2x2 seems, calm and collective coming to 12 to go this time by.
Well, still 12 to go. I think once we get to 5 to go, I think that is when everything is going to go crazy.
I think it'll be a little bit sooner than that. You have Jake Roel right now who's mired back in the pack, and he's just trying to get a couple of his guys. Oh, David Duke was sideways. Not sure he saved it, had to check up, lost a couple of spots, but he is okay. Gather that race car back up, and that's what I was just about to say. I think Jake Roel may be waiting for the 79 and the 48 to catch up behind him, but
well, right now, that Steak Dance car is working, and I've already told the audience tonight, Brandon, that if Steak Dance wins, then I'm eating a steak tomorrow. So, I know we're supposed to be, objective and not play favorites, but I really want a steak, man.
I tell you what, I just used some seasoning. It wasn't Steak Dance. I haven't got Steak Dance yet. Definitely going to dive into Steak Dance. Honestly, in order to get earlier today, might likely do that tomorrow, but I've had some steak seasonings that I feel are pretty good, but just based on reviews, head over to steakdance.com and pick up some of your own. From what I've heard from a lot of people, Steak Dance will change your favorite seasoning. Wonderful. I mean, they've got just a kind of review of their products a little bit here. They do even have something that I'm willing to try, Sean, Pizza Dance. I want to try Pizza Dance more than I want to try Steak Dance because I love the Zap Packs at Little Caesars, and I've been told that they're somewhat similar to the Zap Packs.
Well, it is absolutely fantastic. You will love it. Your taste buds will do a dance when you get some steak dance seasoning. So, but out front, Chad Wampler, their driver, in the number 87 car, and he is getting pushed by the number 14. I know it says number 6 on his car, but he's the number 14. That's Daniel Bowdler, and then Jacob Smith in the 26 right behind him. So nobody really coming up to challenge them just yet.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think we saw Jonathan Warren, and not sure who the other guy that joined to him was, but had to make a pit.
David Duke in the wall. And that will bring out the yellow flag.
And I will say, the cars that's going to save more than anyone else, Sean, James Holtzer, and I think it's Jason. No, Jason Tripp does fall a lap down. Jason Tripp, I'm showing, will be the lucky dog, but James Holtzer able to stay on the lead lap there.
And let's see if we can find out what happened here with David Duke. And it looks like the number 31 of Brady Floyd. And so Duke is on the low line. And he tried to go up high, and Brady Floyd was already there, is what it looks like.
I think, can we watch that from a far chase of the 78? It almost looked to me like Brady Floyd was trying to side draft that 78 when he gets here. He's going to keep it close, and he's going to come down to side draft. David Duke's going to come up, and they just come together, Sean.
So just two cars going for the same spot at the same time is what it looked like, but that is going to really put some damage on David Duke and Brady Floyd. Let's see if they can get back out there on the track.
Yeah, and I'm curious to know if David Duke still has his fast repair remaining from this thing, because still a favorite in my mind. Oh, David Duke going to make a little bit more contact with the wall, just trying to get back in position where he needs to be. Just going to guess, seeing as he does not make his way to pit road, he may not have a fast repair left, Sean.
He might not, but now up front, a lot of guys are pitting right now, but the top 6 did not pit. So Chad Wampler, Daniel Bowdler, Jacob Smith, Jake Rowell, Nicholas Vizzutti, who needs these points desperately, and then Joseph DuPont. None of them came into the pits. Now it looks like we've got about 10 guys, the top 10. None of them pitted this time around. The guys with the best tires right now, Forrest Wynn in the 77 and Jonathan Warren in the 78, who we noticed pitted back there on lap 70.
I will tell you, I'm afraid that our Mid-South Madness counterparts here, Sean, are going to pull a Brandon Browning. And what I mean by that, for the guys who don't know, tuning in to watch, I myself last year was teammates with David Duke and Thomas Rutherford in Mid-South Madness, and I'm leading the race, and we're under caution, and everybody's saving fuel. And I hear my teammate behind me, Thomas, say, "Hey, I'm good to go to the end." And I wasn't thinking, right where Chad Wampler's at right now. I was the lead car. I needed to save more than Thomas did. He was pushing me. And I didn't have enough fuel, Sean. And coming out of turn 4 on the final lap, I ran out and lost myself the playoffs. I was eliminated. And had I just had a quarter more lap of fuel, I would have made the final race for the playoffs. And you see Chad Wampler getting that car flat on the bottom of the racetrack. So likely some fuel saving going on for him. So it makes me question, are they going to pull a Brandon Browning, Sean?
Man, and there's no telling, especially with green-white checkers probably being in play here, because of course it's Daytona, and cautions breed cautions, especially right at the end of the race. So we never want to see those cautions come out, but when you get to the end and you have even a shot at winning, you will do what it takes to get there.
Oh, that's for sure. And amongst our top 5 cars, we'll say, who has pitted the most recent, Sean?
The top 5 most recent was Jacob Smith on lap 40, and Nicholas Vizzutti, the number 75 car, he was lap 40 as well. So all of these guys pitted on either lap 39 or 40.
I thought that was the case. So I remember seeing Jacob Smith kind of charge back through the field after making a pit stop. So right now, he's got to feel pretty good about himself because, more so than everyone else, he and Nicholas Vizzutti obviously have the fuel. But you see back there in lap 70, Forrest Wynn, Jonathan Warren, Stephen Brunner, Kyle Benson, Mitchell. Is that Mitchell Brown?
That's Mitchell Brown, yeah.
those guys not really worried about it, Sean. They're going for it. They can make it to the end. They likely have fresh tires, and they're probably going to start sticking it 3 wide. A lot of ground to make up if you're Connor Trafari, who we just saw running at the front, trying to wrestle the lead away from the stake dance drivers of Daniel Bowdler in the 14 and Chad Wampler in the 87. So now he's back mired in traffic, and he's only got 6 laps to go this time by to make it back to the front.
So the guy in the catbird seat right now is Chad Wampler, but now the decision has to be made. Again, these two are teammates, Chad Wampler and Daniel Bowdler. Who's going to push who?
I think right now, if you're Daniel Bowdler, you're smiling ear to ear. The pace car's about to pull off, Sean. You look in your mirror, and who's there? The 19 of Jake Roel is there. So I think that outside line is going to be tough, but my pick holding strong up there, the 48 and 6, man.
That was a really rough restart.
Yeah, Jake Roel maybe spun the tires a little bit, and I think they're going to fall back to about 4th and 5th because Joseph DuPont has abandoned ship and got down on the bottom. The front 5 right now kind of away from the rest of the field. So we'll see what Kyle Benson and Jonathan Warren, who I might remind you are coming on fresher tires, back toward these leaders here.
Now, once you get all these cars bunched up, all these guys that were back there hanging back about 17 seconds, the Jason Tripps, the Matt Roberts, even the James Holtzers, they all have a shot at this. Now, James Holtzer, who was almost lapped, is now up in 12th position in that blue number 88 car. So he has a shot to win this thing now because of that caution.
Yeah, and you see, the rebound that has become, I will say, playoff-wise, 5 of our top, is it going to be top 5? Our top 5 drivers right now not really racing for points. They're racing for glory, so maybe some beating and banging going to go down amongst them. You see Joseph DuPont, Kyle Benson on the high line, now joined by Jacob Smith, actually left by Kyle Benson, now joined by Chad Wampler, trying to make a charge on the 2 that I knew would be here at the end, Jake Roel and Daniel Bowdler, who are clean and clear of this pack, so wherever they go, they can follow. Jacob Smith, Joseph DuPont still trying to make it work on the high line. Now help coming from Nick Vizzutti and the man you just mentioned, Sean, James Holtzer, back in this thing with a shot to win with 4 to go at Daytona.
Now, Holtzer and Reedy both have to be really careful here. They're in 11th and 13th place as it sits. If there is a wreck up in front of them, both of them have already used their fast repairs because they were involved in earlier wrecks. And so if either one of them get a lot of damage, their race is over. So they have to be super careful.
Yeah, and I just don't think we're done crashing. I don't know that it'll bring out a caution, but I will say there will be one more crash before this thing is over, likely on the white flag lap. For the moment, it's all Daniel Bowdler and Jake Roel. We've seen it before. No one can touch the combination of these two. Jake is just within the window. Now he's going to cool the car, jump to the outside, not really trying to go. Yes, he's going to go for the lead on Daniel Bowdler, who for the moment was left out to drive. It looks like he's rejoined now. Contact between the 26 and the 87 back behind these guys. Oh, they're getting squirrely.
That's Holtzer that got down on the apron. It is tough to rebound from that, so kudos to him, man. Great save.
And that just might have done it. The 48 and Jonathan Warren at the moment. This time by 2 to go. The only cars within striking distance of what we've seen, the dominant combo, the 6 and the 19, Jake Roel and Daniel Bowdler. But if there's anybody that wants to be in the spot they're in right now, Sean, we've seen it a million times before. It's Joseph DuPont. When racing goes on ahead of him on the final lap, when Jonathan Warren tries to push Jake Roel past Daniel Bowdler, the guy that will capitalize will be that 48 if no one else gets there.
Well, Joseph DuPont needs to go. It is go time here with only 2 laps to go. If he's going to make the move. Oh, no, we got somebody into the wall right now. And so we will have a yellow flag.
Steven Brunner just made hard contact with the outside wall. Ran such a clean race, but we'll see it here. Dent Wizard Rec Replay going to bring the replay to you guys right now, Sean.
It looks like it might have been Tyler Werner. I'm not sure if that's, yep, that's the 33 of Tyler Werner that gets up into Brunner. and then Brunner gets down there on the apron. It is so tough to save that after it hits the apron. And so we've got a few cars involved. It wasn't as bad as what it looked, but just with the Werner car driving around there. But tough hit.
Slotting in late there, making some contact in that 39 machine. Another Mid-South Madness driver that hasn't really had the showing tonight that we typically see of him, Sean.
Yeah, we haven't said his name even a single time, but again, great driver in his own right. But looks like Steven Brunner is going to come into the pits. Not sure if he has anything left as far as fast repairs. We will see extremely shortly. And
doesn't look like it.
Nope, it does not look like it. So he's going to try to get back out on the track, salvage something. But up front, this is not what Daniel Bowler and Jake Roel wanted to see. But, hey, since it's here, let's talk about it. Daniel Bowler is going to be on the inside of this restart. Jake Roel on the outside. Now's your time, Brandon. Who you picking?
Joseph DuPont in fourth position. Well,
never mind. They're out of fuel. Oh, my goodness. They're out of fuel. They had to pit because of fuel limitation. That is absolutely crazy. So now Jonathan Warren and Forrest Wynn, who pitted 10 laps ago, they are in the catbird seat. And all of these guys up front playing the fuel strategy. There is not a single Mid-South Madness driver in this bunch.
Yeah, and that's how quickly it can change at Daytona. But I will say the scary part, if we see Jake Roel beat Daniel Bowler off pit road, that'll mean that the 6 and the 19 are going to have the perfect combo. I'm going to tell you, Sean, you already know this. Some of our viewers know this. Jake Roel is going to put that car wherever there's room, whether it works or it doesn't. He's going for a win, and it's going to get crazy with just a green-white checkered standing between him and victory lane.
I will tell you, I've seen Jonathan Warren race up here, and we haven't talked much about him tonight. But I am going to put my pick right now as it sits on him. I know he's in first, and that's the obvious pick, obviously. But just the way that this guy races, he is so clean, and he is just so good. I just don't think if this goes green that first lap, I don't think anybody's going to touch him.
I'm looking back through the pack right now, and I'm seeing where our guys cycled out. Jason Tripp seems to be the front runner for Mid-South Madness back in 10th. So what I'm going to do, Sean, I'm going to say, in my opinion, I don't know why. I don't have a rhyme or a reason, but I'm going to say that I think the winner of this race right now is the 51 of Mitchell Brown. He's going to go back-to-back. I just think Forrest Wynn and the 78 of Jonathan Warren, who we've seen work together so well, try to race for this win, maybe make a little contact, scrub some speed, and Mitchell Brown takes it. My bet's still on a Mid-South Madness driver to make a charge back through the field, but, man, there's a lot of cars they've got to pass now, as it looks like they're sitting 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th right now.
Well, let's talk about something even bigger than this. Austin Reedy in 5th place. James Holtzer in 6th place. They both need the points. James Holtzer, if he wins this race somehow, some way, then he could virtually lock up the points championship tonight. But if something happens here and Austin Reedy wins and Holtzer falls back, we have a brand new ball game next week.
Yeah, and realistically, anything can happen. I'm looking back. You see the orange and black car back there. It doesn't seem like a lot of cars ahead of him, but it's almost a mile between him and the 78 of Jonathan Warren. So if they can get it going, obviously Joseph DuPont, Daniel Bowler are going to line up nose to tail, so that might be their best shot. But they've got so much ground to make up that I just think we might see a back-to-back winner, Mitchell Brown, in the 51 car. That's going to be my guess for the top 5. But if there were more than 2 laps, I would imagine we'd see those Mid-South Madness cars rebound. Actually, no, I'm incorrect. Daniel Bowler and Jake Roel are going to line up nose to tail here for this restart, Sean. So maybe some Mid-South magic coming on instead of Mid-South Madness.
I think we're going to need another green-white checker in order to get to that. But for right now, Jonathan Warren in the 78, the pace car is going to dive off. The Texaco car is going to take off. And on the outside, the number 77 Forrest Wynn Kodiak car Oh, diving to the inside extremely quickly there. Mitchell Brown in third. So we are going to see if anybody can catch Jonathan Warren, and can we stay green?
Yeah, we're going to find out here. Jake Roel, I see him back in the pack already trying to make moves, but not going to get anything done. Him and Daniel Bowdler. So running out of time here. But with these cars on the high line, oh, Austin Reedy's going for gold here, Jonathan. Or James Holtzer inside of him right now, though. But here they come, Sean. The cars that we said would be nearly impossible for them to get there have made their way already up to the front pack just behind James Holtzer. With Stephen Waldrop, I believe it is, there in front of him. So they still have a shot. We'll see how the last lap plays out here.
And we are coming to the white flag here at the Wreckers and Checkers 185. So next flag is going to end this race. I think we're going to get all the way to the finish line, but let's see what happens.
Some contact there between the 6 and the 14, Daniel Bowdler and Stephen Waldrop. It's made it pretty easy for Jonathan Warren and Forrest Wynn, but honestly, who knows what could happen here as one slip of the steering wheel. Oh, Bowdler's going to try it.
Oh, Holtzer up in the wall. Reedy up in the wall. Reedy spins, gets hit hard. Holtzer also gets hit. But
Daniel
coming to the finish line, this is going to be close.
Oh, they're sideways, and Mitchell Brown.
And Mitchell Brown with the win. Mitchell Brown with the win. Daniel Bowdler takes second, and then they are wrecking huge right behind.
Something told me on that restart there'd be contact that got the 51 to victory lane, and it was off the front bumper of Daniel Bowdler that he was able to get it done.
Wow, what an incredible finish to the race. Daniel Bowdler coming from nowhere to take second after all the wrecking happened, but Mitchell Brown going back to back. And this will be his race here at the Wreckers or Checkers 185 at Daytona.
And we saw exactly that. Only checkers and wreckers for majority of the field, but the three guys that broke away, and we'll catch up with them in interviews. Third place is Jonathan Warren. Second place is Daniel Bowdler. And your winner back-to-back weeks, Mitchell Brown in the number 51 machine.
And there he is. He is going to do some donuts, I believe. Get back up here to the start-finish.
Celebratory tap there that sent him around, but I believe you're right, coming to burn it down at the start-finish line. Back-to-back weeks, he's come alive, he's got it done, and he's proven that he's a name to be remembered here in four-wide racing.
And while he is burning it down on the track, let's jump over and check out the results. And here they are. Mitchell Brown in first in the 51 car. Daniel Bowdler in second. Jonathan Warren in third. Jake Roel in fourth.
In fifth place, we have Stephen Waldrop. Sixth place, we have Jacob Smith. Seventh, Nick Vizzutti. Eighth place, Jason Tripp.
Ninth place, James Holtzer. Our points leader, Chad Wampler in 10th. Forrest Wynn in 11th. Kyle Benson in 12th.
Matt Roberts in 13th, Tyler Murray in 14th, David Duke 15th, and Tyler Werner in 16th.
17th is Stan Hausman, 18th, Brandon Gillis, 19th, Austin Reedy, who really needed a good race here in order to catch James Holtzer, didn't get it. Big wreck at the end there. And then Roman Long in 20th rounds out the top 20. So let's see. I'm looking right now to see if we can find Jonathan Warren, so we can see if we can talk to our third place finisher. I do not see him in the chat, so we will move on to our second place finisher, Daniel Bowdler. Let's see if we can grab him and get him up into the booth.
Just 1 second before you pull him, Sean, I'm going to actually jump down real quick and let him know. I believe he's involved in some interesting conversations, so just 1 second there, Sean.
All right. Once again, Mitchell Brown going back-to-back. Huge race for him. I know it's not going to do anything to the points for the most part, but always fun to see somebody go back-to-back. And so we are working on getting Daniel Bowdler up into the booth so we can get a quick little interview there.
Alrighty, Sean, we can go ahead and get him up here. I just wanted to let him know that we were going to grab him for an interview real quick.
All right, Daniel Bowdler in the number 6/number 14 car, whatever you want to call it, man. But congratulations, great race out there.
Yeah, I wish it could have went a little bit better there. Had a run, just couldn't find my way back to the bottom around the 51 there, so just decided to shove him all the way to the line.
So tell us what happened as far as when you pitted. Obviously, you were out of fuel, correct?
Yeah, we were going to run short there. We really needed that to go on the scheduled distance there. It didn't work out in our favor, but managed to get back to second. I don't know. There was a little bit of aggressive move on the back on my part, but between all the yelling on the chat and spotter, I thought I had room. I don't know. Maybe I had less room than what I had, but I mean, I didn't get too much out of it. It didn't upset my car too bad. So I don't know. I'm sure he's a little bit upset, but I'm just glad to get back up there and get a good finish.
Well, I will say, buddy, I have been listening to him. He wasn't very happy from a broadcaster standpoint, seeing it live. They left you too much room to fuss about it now, buddy. You come into this series, not really a points racer, but, you were going for glory, and that's exactly what you did. What went through your mind when you restarted in, I think, what was 13th position and took the white flag within the top 5 with a chance to win it?
I had my teammate Jake behind me there, and he said he was married to me wherever I went, he was going, and we just kept looking for a hole on the outside. And I don't know, like you said, they just left enough room there. It looked like a hole, and man, on these tracks, you just got to take that on the white flag if you have to. There, I hate that it didn't go in his favor. Certainly didn't mean to wreck anybody if that's what ended up happening to him. I saw a hole and I went for it.
All right, man. Well, hey, great race. Congratulations on a second-place finish. Go down there, celebrate with your teammates, and we will see you next time around.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we will move him back down to MSM, and then let's get our winner in here, Brandon. Mitch Brown, who once again, we already talked about it, he went back-to-back. So Mitch Brown, Sean and Brandon up in the booth. How's it going, my friend?
It's going, guys.
Man, what a fantastic finish. And, I'll tell you, and it doesn't happen very often, but Brandon Browning called it before the last restart. He said that Mitch Brown was going to take the win.
I think I had a chance to win that race, but the cards worked out right. I was in the right line and had the right push at the right time.
Yeah, I do want to say, buddy, as far as he said, I think you restarted in the 5th spot there, and just for some reason, he asked me who I thought was going to get it done, and I looked at the front 2, and I didn't feel anything there. I looked at the next 2, and I didn't see it, and I saw the 51 car, and I said, you know what, Sean? Mitch Brown is going back-to-back in this thing, and even when it restarted, you had a little bit of a rough restart, and I started to question. I was like, man, I don't know why I picked Mitch, but we come off of turn 4 on the final turn, final lap, and you got it done, buddy. What is it like here? You've went back-to-back now. You're making Mitch Brown a known driver. You're letting these guys know that you're the driver to reckon with and watch out for. What's your plan for the rest of the season, buddy?
We're probably going to run the rest of the races in the league. Definitely probably run some races in the off-season league, and we'll be back here full-time next year.
Sounds good, man. Well, we can't wait to see more of it. We can't wait to see you in victory lane a whole lot more. Next week is definitely going to be interesting. Hope to see you in victory lane one more time. Make it 3 in a row.
All right, you guys.
All right, buddy.
Congratulations.
All right, so we will drop him right back down. All right, Brandon, let's talk about next week. This is going to be a fun one, especially with only 2 weeks to go in the season. It is the 110 at the Glen.
That's going to be a fun one. And unfortunately for these guys, they better hope that Daniel Bowdler doesn't show back up. Same with Joseph DuPont. Those guys are killer road racers. I haven't had the pleasure yet of seeing a lot of these guys run road courses, Sean, but I can speak for those 2 drivers, and they'll make it interesting. Same with Jake Rowell in the 19. Excellent drivers.
Definitely, but I'm telling you, these guys in 4 Wide Racing know how to get it done. Mitchell Brown, once again, second time in a row, winning, and then Jonathan Warren in 3rd. another fantastic racer there. So we have a lot of great racing here. We hope all of you come back and join us next week for the 110 at the Glen at Watkins Glen International at the same time. So we will see everyone there. Again, I'm Sean Griffith, and for my co-broadcaster Brandon Browning, please everybody have a great night, and we will see you next week.